Hey, welcome to Academy of Tone 160. This is another episode about teaching, about masterclasses and things that we can do with our hands on our guitar. We might have some tone questions too, but I want to focus a bit more on the playing side. You know, I'm still in that kind of mindset when I did the masterclass last week. And even at the last live stream with the masterclass, I think there was so many things missing. And today I wanted to complete the picture. So for me, this episode will be about more things towards improvisation and things you can actually learn. So after giving that class, I had a, a very interesting experience because I asked the guys, hey, what are you actually doing when you practice at home? How much time do you spend and what are you doing? And that's very, very interesting. You know what? Let me see my notes because that's I was maybe a little bit shocked because I didn't expect that. Maybe I'm different or whatever. So most people said, I'm learning songs. Fair enough, very important. We all have to learn songs, and I think it's important to learn new songs, old songs, and whatever music. It's all about the music, so there's nothing wrong about learning songs. How to do that? Listen to the song first, get a feel and the overall picture of the song, and then go into details, take notes, and then memorize stuff and put it on paper in big letters so you can actually read it. That's my style. Okay. People were telling me they spend a lot of time with warming up. That's something I rarely do, but I should do more. Warming up is to get the muscles warm. So, you know, before you kind of get stiff or cramped, shake your hands, let loose, and start with that. And then maybe do a stupid exercise like the good old. Like 4 notes per string or. Yeah. But this is my metronome. It's my foot, my feet. Very important. Everything I practice, I do in the groove, I do in the beat. So if you do the warm-up, I would even do that in the beat because that's music. Music without a groove is no music to me. Okay, some people said, I improvise. Okay, that's cool. Some people say they just whittle a little bit, or they have a songbook, or they practice scales. Some people practice with backing tracks. Then I had again just whittling, and then practicing very special parts that are hard to play. Well, I understand that, but for me, the main thing, and that's also my kind of creed in life, and especially when it comes to practicing and making music, go with the flow. And I probably have showed some people this before, but I have to show you this thing again and again and again. It is all about establishing the groove and then starting to practice. But before we dive into this thing, which is the key thing, how to learn to walk, to improvise. I told you last time, I make some housekeeping about what's new going on here at BluGuitar. First, we have Iridium back in stock. So we had a new shipment coming in, and so we have everything available. Ta-da! Yeah. On the other hand, we have a lot of artists. So this is the artist blog of this episode. Clarence Hill, not Clarence Hill, you know that one. He sent us a mail to showcase his new discovery of using his old AMP1 Silver Edition. A guy that plays an iridium for metal, but has a very interesting hybrid guitar that is in between an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar. And we found this quite interesting. I wanted to show you this hybrid guitar. And he uses his AMP1 Silver for that one. Yeah, check it out. We have a little video. Yeah, next is Emanuel Knorr from Bremen. He is lecturer, teacher, composer, and yeah, he was playing his iridium, of course, metal guy, super fast player, at the Wave Gothic Treffen, WGT, with the band Wolfenmond. Okay, sounds very... we have a lot of wolves in this kind of scene. Here in the Saarland area, the band is called Powerwolf. And there's, I don't know, wolf. Every wolf has to create his own band. Anyway, we have a little video. Yep, and then we have our dear friend Niels Finkeisen that I will see next week when I'm going to Hamburg again. Next week we are at number 1. They have an event which is the Crossroads Festival with tons of great players coming, including the bass player of the Rolling Stones. So I can play my... Yeah, with a real deal bass player who also played with Miles Davis and Sting. What's his name? Anyone knows it? Put it in the comment. What is his name? You should know this guy. Hey, Daryl Jones of the Rolling Stones. Man, next week. And of course, Niels Finkeisen is there as well. He was just on tour with Die Krupps, which is an industrial metal band, similar or in that kind of genre like Rammstein. Yeah, he had a few club gigs last week. And his next announced gig is the NCN Festival in Leipzig, East Germany, 1st to 3rd September. Okay, next is Blackfry 937. We don't know his real name. We just found him on the internet using our Iridium again. And he's currently touring with the band called Call of Sharon, using the M1 Iridium. It's a death metal band, and they are currently touring Germany. So if you see this, yeah, just contact us. We would like to get in touch with you guys. Yeah, if you are interested in death metal, check out Call of Sharon on Instagram and on their web page. Okay, then we have a local guy, Lukas Vranja. He played in Queer Sheet. Okay, this is nobody on this planet knows where Queer Sheet is. At the Wenzel Rock, whatever that means. Wenzel Schlawanzel, with a melodic metal band called Sonic Dynamite. He's got some songs on YouTube, also check him out. And not to forget myself, because I spent a nice Saturday in France, in Remelfing. And Remelfing is here, just across the border in France. We had a special mix-up of a band with my dear friend Gulli from the Rock Anarchy and the New Screamers, which is the band that Alex Bayreuth plays with. Roman Jib is the drummer. So, you know, we just went there and had fun. And of course we killed it. But what was killing me was driving to that little town, village, you know, just across the border, and seeing how many people were there actually coming. We have a little clip for you. Check this out.
Thomas Blug.
Yeah, so this was big fun with Alex Bayreuth. He was, of course, using his Iridium and a Fat Cap, and I was using my Mercury. And I see we have a guest here. Where is it? Lucas Franja, the guy I just talked about, is in the chat. Hey, nice. Yeah, one guy we are showing you an interview at the end of this episode is Daniel Cox from Australia, from the Gold Coast. There is a short video at the end of this episode, and tomorrow we will upload a long version, because we talked a lot about Australia, about his Iridium, about, you know, get the big picture. And for me, it's fun to talk to people from like the other side of the planet. They are here and we are here. Or it's like the longest flight you can imagine to get there. But anywhere you find great players, great people, and especially Australia. Anyway, Tommy Emmanuel, just for instance. Okie doke. So let's dive back into the teaching thing. I get everything that distracts me out of the way. And now I think, refresh yourself and think about what you are doing when you pick up a guitar. I know we all noodle a little bit, which is kind of warming up the muscles. But if you just do that and you sit in front of the TV and noodle, that's only muscle memory. This has not much to do with music. That's okay for getting your fingers working in a way. But why do I see people at master classes? Because most of the people joining there, they are stuck somewhere. They have a certain level, they can play songs, they can play kind of solos, but they're coming because they want to improve their skills. Of course, we can improve our mechanical skills, but I found out that most people have tons of licks. They think they have none, but the truth is I only have a few licks, but I know how I can crack the code and use all the elements of the stuff that I ever learned and use it in a free, fresh environment. And that is my key approach when I try to teach my method and when I try to get people like free. And the first thing is the mental thing. It is like music is an emotional thing. So if your logic brain half comes first, it blocks the other one. So the first thing I'm teaching the guys is establish a groove and get lost in the groove. And the easiest thing is like this. I've done this last episode too, and I do this all the time. Just go with the flow and play 2 chords. You don't even need an amp for that. You just have to be in your zone and get the groove, and then just go, go with the flow, establish that flow and kind of disappear from the rest of the world. There's this switch you have to flick from I'm a whatever manager in your company and my wife is sitting there to now I'm in my zone of music, and sometimes I'm getting shocked when somebody opens the door because I'm totally lost there. But that's a good sign. That's the sign that you're really kind of meditating the music, like Alex. Anyway, let's use that spirit for everything you want to practice. And the first lesson is pentatonic. We all know pentatonic. Okay, now you think, Thomas is doing the same thing everybody does. Yes, I am. But here's the thing. I noticed that most people are scared to step outside the box, which is maybe that box, or stuff that you already played. You are afraid to do stuff that might be different from what you played before. And I want you to exactly go there. So, and to be able to do that, it's okay to play pentatonic, and even in the first position. So, if you want to spice up that super 5-note scale with extra notes, you can play more things. So the first thing you can throw in is like the 9th. You go 1, 2. It's the 9th interval of a scale. This is how you have to play a proper scale, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this was the 9th interval. Okay. But if you throw that note, which is like a B, if you add that note to the A minor pentatonic, you have a 6-note scale. Okay? Not even an amp needed for that. Amp comes later for the pleasure. But first it's the groove and it's adding that one note. And you can play around with that for half an hour. Just get lost in it and yeah, and remember that flavor of that one extra note. It's just one new note, one new note. And that flavor can be so important. And if you listen to like Pink Floyd, they use minutes to establish an atmosphere. I wish you were here beginning of the record. And then they throw in a new note. I can repeat myself hundreds of times. It is so important to understand the flavor of each note. I mean, you can understand the theory, but for me, it doesn't matter. You don't need theory. You just need to have a taste. You have to understand the flavor of that note. So if you know how a ninth sounds, just, that's the extra flavor of that one note. And I call my theory very simple: Pentatonic plus X. Why? Because I believe that most of my heroes used that kind of understanding of theory. They played pentatonic and then they added notes coming from chords or notes coming from that note fits. I don't know why, but it fits. Keep it simple. Without reading big books and stuff like that. So that's the 9. Okay. This is kind of a 6-note scale, hexatonic. Pentatonic 5, hexatonic 6. Expensive name for nothing special. But anyway, the whole theory is expensive name for nothing special because it's all the same kind of thing. Next level is you throw a second additional note to the 5-note scale and make it a diatonic scale. And this is like the F sharp would be the note that I was also using in last live stream to do it Dorian. And that comes from that D chord, and that's kind of, we can borrow that note for the scale to play over the 2 chords. Okay, that's the way how to get a different flavor again. So you should spend hours kind of tasting that major 6 note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a major 6. There's so much power in that note. Oh, give me a little bit over. The 9th and just cherish that note, use that note, try to learn the flavor of that note. Listen to the note. Listen. Listen is the most important thing. next to playing. Of course, you have to play a note, but then you have to listen at the same time. So that is going from pentatonic to diatonic, okay? Well, we all heard there is a blues scale, there is a blue note, that's that note. That kind of forbidden interval, the purple. No? They use that interval a lot. Okay, so you could use that scale without having the other notes, but you can also throw in that extra note and having the Dorian notes. When I play that scale, I always move my feet because there's my rhythm and I know the two chords that I play through. So that's okay. It's a natural way that shows I'm in my music zone. Okay. If you just play that first pentatonic box and throw in these notes, you can create so many great licks, things from tons of things. So, just to recap, we have a little graphic that shows you. So this is the pentatonic plus X method, which is, there is a pentatonic scale. I don't see the scale, Lucas. Something might be wrong. Yeah, and I see here the tritonus. Is it coming? Is it coming? Here we go. Okay, so that's the pentatonic plus X. So all the white dots, so to speak, are the typical pentatonic notes. The blue, the dark blue ones, is the ninth, is the first interval that you can use like 99% with that scale, because otherwise it would be a special mode which we don't use very often. So don't even think about that. Just play that ninth. So there's nothing to ask for. Then we have that major 6 note, and that makes 2 extra notes to the 5-note scale, which makes it a diatonic scale, okay? And then there is the blue note that we can throw in as an extra color. Okay, and if we talk now in mode terms, modes is that magic thing that everybody should know, and 50% of the players know it and the rest don't get it. That's my next section here, because it's so cheap. It's the easiest thing on this planet when you hear it. So just in technical term, how to describe it, there is a Dorian mode, which is the pentatonic plus the 9th and the major 6. And there is the natural minor scale, or the Aeolian mode, that's just an expensive name. And that's when I use a minor 6 here, which is that note. Our sad minor scale with the F in there, not the F sharp. So, and that would require, of course, other chords, which would be A minor and D minor. Stairway to Heaven solo is exactly that. Pentatonic plus F, well, plus X, and the X is the F note in Stairway to Heaven. Okay, so now you understand how I look from that. I know the pentatonic scale, I feel safe playing pentatonic, and then I dare to throw in extra notes theory. And that works. Has always worked, and it's so easy. And if you know more boxes, be happy. Use those extra boxes, learn that extra boxes, and do it with the groove. So everywhere there is a box. Play sideways, play it on a... Yeah, any way you can think of reaching these notes, sideways, that way, anyway, is a good way. It doesn't need to be fast, it just needs to be explore the fretboard and do it in a groove, because then you're already in the I make music mode, you know, it's like... Instant music. It's just there. It's on the fretboard. You just have to discover it. And I try to do things that are easy for you, so you feel safe and you don't get stuck. And if you get stuck, keep the beat going. Don't be afraid. The beat is... It's like your heart. It needs to beat. Your heartbeat is always there. Otherwise, you're dead. Okay, if your heart stops, you're dead. Heart attack, end of story. And that's the same thing if the groove stops. Heart attack, music is dead. And when you practice, that kind of groove is always with me. And that's music. That's why everything I practice to a beat is instantly available for me when I'm on stage. Okay. So that's the way how to get familiar with any scale, with any extra note for scales. You can even do half note for any. Do all the stuff, any level. It doesn't mean you have to be beginner level or advanced level. You can use that groove method for anything. Other people use a metronome, but I personally prefer to deliver the beat from my side, myself. Okay, so guys, are you ready for the big thing when it comes to modes? Everybody talks about modes, and we heard those expensive names, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. That's the name of the modes. But these names, they stand for sounds. And how to get the sounds Well, there is a theory. You can say, okay, it starts with a. Let's do it in C. Our favorite, especially the Germans love the key of C. Every Schlager is in C. So this is the stuff that the Humpa Humpa guys play in the beer fests. And it's kind of what our culture is based on. Luckily, we hear some more stuff these days, but this is the core German thing. And that's the major scale, you know, it's like, okay, fair enough. I'm pretty sure everywhere on this planet you heard major. But in Germany, old school music is mostly major. Okay, and there is a magic song which I have to tell. The Germans will laugh because they all know it, but now the whole world needs to know that song. It's the biggest hit ever in Germany that every little kid is taught. It's called Alle, meine, Entchen, which means all my little ducks. And the story is all these little ducks are swimming on the sea, swimming on the lake, and they put their head in the water and the bum up. Like up. Okay. You can think whatever you think about it. Doesn't matter. That song is magic because it starts using the whole major scale. You know, it's called Alle, meine, Entchen. Okay. Alle, meine, Entchen schwimmen auf dem See. So. That's the scale. Okay. If basically you can play the scale, or you play the first notes upwards and then have the extra notes thrown in from that song, and you're there. And now the sound of that scale is in relation to the root note C. That makes that sound, or makes it sound major. And the reason for that is because the intervals we get from the note, the distance from the notes in the scale is like whole note, another whole note, half note, whole note. So this is like a major third, it's major, and this is why it's called major. This is a major key. But now there's a half step and a whole step, and that's a minor third, and this is a major third. So first major, then minor. That's the formula for a major chord. Super sound. There's your minor interval. It's not. That would be a major. So it's not. It's augmented. No, we are playing major chord. Maybe this is kind of too cheesy for you, good. But the point is, that's the sound. Okay? It's just a sound. And if you grew up with that sound, you hear that sound. You can tell if that note is right or if that note is wrong. If you... That's the wrong note. Yeah. Because you hear it, you know? All these, you know, traditional songs use that scale. So, major. Boom, done. Okay, we can play major. And now we know that the notes that you played here, and I want you to use all the places where you find those notes on your fretboard. And actually we've been there just before when we started with the Pentatonic X, because here that Led Zeppelin Stairway to Heaven solo is using the same notes. It's Alle meine Entchen, okay? Jimmy Page stole from the Germans Alle meine Entchen. He just used different chords and a better drummer. We have lousy drummers for our polka shit. No, Bonzo was giving Alle meine Entchen a fresh energy. But it is Alle meine Entchen. He plays Alle meine Entchen. Shall I show you where the Alle meine Entchen is? It's like... Hey, he plays Alle meine Entchen and made millions with it. Okay. So we know that's, that shape we know because we know the pentatonic box, the easiest one, and fifth position, and we know we add a B and we add an F, we have a diatonic scale, and ta-da, it's C major or A minor. Huh? Well, that's all the same notes, and it just changes the mode or the sound, the mood, whatever you want to call it, because the bass note is changing. If there's an A in the bass, it's Aeolian called minor. Okay, but if I put a C in the bass, it's major. It's exactly the same notes, just with a different root note. And why is it sounding different? Very simple, because the intervals, the distance from the root note to the notes change. And that pattern is a sound or a mode. But the good news is everything that is in your fingers is already usable. You don't need to practice new fingerings for your Aeolian licks, because it's your fucking old pentatonic licks, guys. Ta-da! And that's the key thing. Make stuff as easy as possible. Do the recycling. Anything you know you can use in another environment and make it shine. So, the next guys who stole Alle meine Entchen, made millions out of that, is the Police. It's fucking Alle meine Entchen. It's fucking notes from C major scale, just with playing a D as a root note. So, Alle meine Entchen with the D in the bass. Sounds... In the Germans, I always tell the story, well, this is the French Alle meine Entchen. It's like you have a different pronunciation, Bonjour, Alle, meine, Entchen. Ça va? Très bien. Et moi? Du bière ou du jus d'orange. Okay? Parfait. Rimmelfing. Rimmelfing. The French, they use our German words there. They have a schwenk. Nobody knows what a schwenk is. That's from our local area here. Schwenk is kind of meat on a moving grill over the open fire. That's kind of schwenk. So the meat, yeah, anyway. And the French call that too, and they call it Käsegriller too. We steal from everybody. We steal the French stuff, trottoir, portemonnaie. No? This is what we use here for stuff in Germany. And they steal our words, and that's good because it's refreshing. And this is Alle meine Entchen with a different bass note with a D in the bass. sounds French or sounds to me like police or sounds Dorian. No, we have that all the time. Last episode was all about Dorian. I played the intro song in Dorian mode. I played everything Dorian. Get used to the sound. It's killer. It's one of those important ones. Okay? So, if we kind of continue in the scale, C, D, E, okay, we get to the next mode. Let me show you the graphic so you get the whole overview, how this thing works. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, if you look at this graphic here, you see the major scale in C, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, no magic, and as I said, Alle, meine, Entchen is using exactly these notes. Perfect song for that. You can have your own song for that, but that's my reference song. And if you start to do that theory lesson, you can come up with chords. So you have a C major chord, you have a D minor chord, and that goes back to the theory, which means chords are combined notes of thirds. With, well, if the first third is major and the second one is minor, it's a major chord. If the first third is a minor third, and that is what's happening when you start from the D. D, E, F. The E, F distance, there is no distance, it's that half step. That's why this is a minor third. So this is D minor. I do the next thing here, which is E, G, and B. E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and this is diminished, B diminished. Okay, all I'm doing is like I play this the thirds and the fifth with only chord notes. Okay, so and then of course we can throw in extra notes, and one of that classic ones is the 7. So if we put an extra note here, we have a major 7, because that's the last note before the 8, which is the octave, and the distance from B to C is a half step. We can see this on the first line, on the top line here. There's like, when we have that line, there's a full step, and if we have that kind of V, that's a half step. So between E and F and B and C, there's the half steps. So, okay, basic music theory. We can then kind of extend the chords with a 7, and so we go for C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, and then we have a G dominant 7, because we have a minor 7. All the other major chords had major 7s, but this major chord has a minor 7, and that's the dominant because it's the fifth Stufe. The fifth. It's the fifth chord in the scale, and that's the dominant chord. So there's a name. We all know that, and then there's your A minor, and then there's your diminished or minor 7 flat 5. So on the right hand side of this graphic, you can see the expensive names for the modes, which is major or Ionian. I don't know who invented that. That's some very, sounds Greek to me. Some guys from intelligence from the past must have come up with something like that. Major, I don't know about major, but major is always good. Dorian, we had this many times. And then there's this other expensive name, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, and Aeolian and Locrian. to cut it short, forget about Locrian. Nobody plays Locrian. We play major, we play minor, we had that, and we already had Dorian quite a lot. So, and out of the remaining three in between, Phrygian, Lydian, and Mixolydian, I would say Mixolydian is the most used scale in rock music. And that's kind of a killer sound, which I used for the intro song today. This is the minor 7. See, I have a major chord. It's not. Ow. You already can hear it. I mean, you heard that song. We all know that song. We are, civilized people with the Beatles, and that's. So we already hear it. Great, but we don't hear the other modes, or most of us don't hear them. If I'm talking, can you play Lydian, or can you play Phrygian? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Maybe you do without knowing. So, back to my theory. If I have my C major scale and have that C in the bass, so major sound, okay. And then I do the same thing with the D. Get used to that sound. Now we play the same notes over the E. E guitar is great. Where's my root note? So I play my Alle meine Entchen song over the E. These ducks, these Entchens, they are so sad. It's unbelievable. I mean, you could commit suicide listening to that sound. It doesn't resolve in that tune. That's really hard. Do me a favor and just resolve that one note. Okay, and this makes this kind of foreign sound, And the trick here is you simply land on notes that would be in a chord. Okay, and that's obviously not the C, because that's kind of a note that is not in E. This would be a minor 6. Added minor 6. So the 5, the B is the right note. So you would kind of play the song Alle meine Entchen, but resolve it there, and then you're fine. But your fingers doing the same thing. Just resolve it to the note where it sounds. And that's the key point. Listen to what you play. Listen and feel the notes. This is all you need to know. This is your spice. This is how to make sound. And if somebody plays melodic, they have a feel for the choice of notes. And this is what you can actually practice by listening to, maybe do it, you start mechanically because it's like, I told you to play that kind of scale here and put in a different root note. But listen to yourself, to what you play, and then choose the notes that sound good for you. And you will automatically learn the modes. That's what I have been doing without knowing it, because I'm self-taught my first years. I always commit suicide when I listen to my own recordings and compare them with Jeff Beck, Michael, Angelo Battido, the double neck player, and Jason Becker. Hey, you are still there. Next time we put you on. No, okay, I'm only joking here. Guys, the point is, we know there are the big stars out there that we all admire, and they do the stuff that we cannot do because they are personalities. But trust me, you have your own personality, and the sooner you discover that, the sooner you will be one of those stars. You will be in line with that. It's Jeff Beck, Michael, Angelo Battido, Jason Becker, and Giffy Morauda. Just discover your passion, whatever it is. But the thing here, key of that lesson is, forget about, I have to learn, I have to practice, my brain is doing the job. No, the only thing you have to do is do what you always do, play the same notes, but listen to the notes. Be creative with what you hear. Change notes to make them sound. This is the first step to develop your own style, because it's your choice to pick that note, and you don't listen to any of the other guys like Jeff Beck was choosing that note, and don't even think about it. I mean, sometimes I have that thing, it's like, oh man, fuck, I sound like Jeff Beck because I like what he's done, and I have to admit that I listen to the guy because I like him. But in the end, listen to yourself. The sooner you start to love yourself, the less you will commit suicide. Is that a theory? Now we can go into psychology. Psychology lesson 1. Joking helps. Yeah, I tell you, make things lighter. Joking is super, super important. Anything, if you are, I cannot play the guitar if I cannot play the Etude Paganini, irgendwie Malmsteen upwards in my hand. It's like harakiri, bullshit. Keith Richards, he got rid of a string because it was in its way. He knows 2 chords and he made millions with it. It's even easier, I just play it here. You just need to know that chord. It's Toto, everybody steals everything. And of course it was Keith Richards that used that chord the most because he lost all the other chords. But don't underestimate Keith Richards, killer guitar player. Angie, play Angie the right way and we are talking. If not, anyway, the point is, make things simple and don't take yourself too serious. Play guitar. It's playing. We all kind of think too much and don't play enough. Maybe you have kids, try to come to their level and discover the world by playing. Discover the note by playing and listening. This is how you learn. And that's the thing, if we are adult, if we are thinking too much, it's like, oh, I cannot do this because I cannot play. I'm not 5 years old. You should be 3 years old and do crazy things. knock your head and make the experience. Oh, maybe that wasn't that good. Then you try the other side. Oh, the other side also hurts. Then maybe don't do it again. And next thing is like, this tastes great. Maybe you have to try things that you've never tried before. Try some dog shit. You find it everywhere on streets these days. Maybe you like it. What kind of music can you play with that kind of experience? Anyway, I'm joking, and that helps. What's going on here? The only hope to sound anything like Jeff Beck. I only hope to. Hey, nobody will sound like Jeff Beck. And I tell you why. I know people that can imitate the style of Jeff Beck because they were very close to Jeff Beck, like Jennifer Batten or Mick Rogers, my friend Mick Rogers from Manfred Mann's Earth Band. He same age like Jeff Beck, and he had the same heroes like Jeff Beck, and he liked Jeff Beck, and so he knows how to do that kind of. And you don't want to do that. It's not about, if you want to be like Jeff Beck, you're always number two, and he will be yourself. Be yourself. Da 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 da. Anyway, but continuing with my major scale notes and throwing in the different bass notes. So we were having that E and the set. It's a very rare sound to use that, but at least it is experiencing a sound. If we go and play the F, sounds familiar to me, and it sounds a little bit like movie score, happy morning, something is coming up, maybe mysterious. It sounds expensive from all the modes. That sounds like, okay, cheesy, we heard that before, and the police sound, and it's okay, but it's not like expensive, okay, and that sounds like, very sad. Okay, but this one. I think that sounds the most expensive of them all. And here is why Joe Satriani is a genius. Joe Satriani picked the most expensive mode. He knows modes, by the way. He taught them to Steve Vai, and he can sell them even more expensive. But back to Satriani. He takes Alle meine Entchen and puts in those expensive chords. And this is kind of blowing in Flying in a Blue Dream or some album. It is Alle meine Entchen, again, but it sounds, wow, man, this guy, he knows scales you've never heard it. This is from outer space. This comes from surfing with the aliens. I'm special and you are not. I'm Satriani and you suck, kind of attitude. And it's all because of that sharp 11. But forget about that expensive names. It's Alle meine Entchen with a different bass note. So, and now I tell you why he is really a genius, because he took the Alle meine Entchen, and he knows I play electric guitar. I call this the E guitar, with an E here and E here, and I can play all my E pentatonic boxes, everything in E. You know, everything easy he can play on the electrical E guitar. So, and he kind of is clever. He transposed Alle meine Entchen from C major to G major. Ha! And this is like here. And when you play G major, you also play E minor. Okay, that's transposing. And fuck it, it's that simple. You play Alle meine Entchen using the key of G now. So, and now he puts in the expansive note. Okay, and then he's cheating because he plays legato. Ha! Alle meine Entchen. Never play the G because this will tell you the truth. Oh, it's like. As long as he never played the G, it will always sound expensive. The moment you play the G, it's like the cheap Alle meine Entchen thing is out. You know, like, resolved, end of story, my secret is gone forever. And he's that clever. So what he does is like, he doesn't resolve, he leaves the tension, he lets us suffer, he lets us think, this guy is a genius, he is so clever, he is doing things that I can never do. But actually what he's doing is playing Alle meine Entchen, and since he's in the right key, he can play all his E minor pentatonic licks as well, including the G, the magic is gone. And he knows that. That's why he is not doing it. And he's even way cleverer than that, because the moment when the tension is at the highest point, he shifts. He makes a key change. Killer. So respect to Joe Satriani, because he knows his shit. And he knows modes, and he knows how to use them well. Anyway, but lesson, all he's playing is a fucking major fingering over the fretboard. The easiest one there is. He made it so clever, he used the easiest of all options. And that's how you can impress without suffering. No? And that's my philosophy. Don't suffer, enjoy. Nobody needs to commit suicide. If you enjoy, you get better than anybody, because you and Jeff Beck is only Jeff Beck, and he's already gone. Which is sad, but yeah. You got that? Okay. Next note in that scale exercise would be G. Okay, now I play the Beatles again. They play Alle, meine Entchen. No? It's all the same. But they put in this different root note. And now, think about all the sounds you get out of this. We know that those 60s like sitar sounds. That's kind of the Hare Krishna Entchen version. Mixolydian, that's the sound of Mixolydian. And that's the sound of anything dominant 7 chord. You know, it's like. Or AC/DC. Or Deep Purple or whatever. AC/DC, well, better move it to A because then you have the open chord. AC/DC, they play Alle, meine Entchen. The guy who composed that song should be a trillionaire. Well, I'm talking about the major scale. It's all notes that we already know, have in our fingers. We just don't hear them the right way. Okay? Anyway, so this was Mixolydian. We find that in any rock song, in any it is that sound. It is 60s. Anything we listen to, most of it is Mixolydian, because we can detect the major and the minor stuff as the too obvious things. So what's left there behind the besides the other modes? Well, it's Dorian and Mixolydian, because Lydian and Phrygian, they are too expensive. We don't hear them. That's only for Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. But as I said, it's the same fucking major scale, just with a different bass note. Okay? Okay, next bass note is the A. Minor, or inexpensive word, Aeolian. Minor scale, same notes, different bass note, A. Okay, and then I told you we can also do the the B in the bass and that's Lohengrin, but nobody uses. Why talk about it? It exists as a hey, Paul Rose. Mix holt. Paul Rose. Hi, Paul. By the way, Paul is killer guitar player, and he will come here to the Academy of Tone soon when I have time. That's the problem. I didn't call him back yet. Paul, I owe you a return call. But next week I'm in Hamburg, as we know. The week after I have to take care of stuff here. Sometimes this summer, Paul will be sitting here and he's a killer player. Yeah. We met at the Strat King Awards in 2004 and he is now the better guitar player. But doesn't matter, I teach you Alle, meine, Entchen. A German folk song for kids at the age of maybe 2. That's the level today. Bring it all the way down, this is important. Okay, to sum up, what I'd like to teach you is, if you have that shape already learned as major, you can recycle that, all those notes with different bass notes for all the modes. You don't have to worry about new mechanical work on your fretboard. It's already there. You should spend the time and with the notes and discover them, listen to them and discover them freshly over these other bass notes, and you learn the modes. That's what I've done. So life can be that easy. Don't need a new guitar, you don't need a new amp, you just play the same old shit and hear it differently. Maybe have too many beers or whatever, and that helps, but I doubt it. Just listen, be yourself, get in the zone, make music. Make music. No? Play music, play like kids. So that's basically all I have to say about music theory. We have a lot of more sophisticated music theory for the exception in our world. Okay, there's like, let's have a diminished thing. Well, don't think about it now. Just discover the basic stuff, fresh and new, and you guys will learn a lot. If you are an advanced player like Paul, I'm talking simple stuff. But if most of the guys that I met, they could make more use of what they already know. That's what I'm saying. And if it's in the modes, it's easy to learn the modes because actually there's nothing to learn, there's just something to hear. Huh? Is this a good message for you guys? I hope it is. So spend the summer, where we are in Europe here, on your veranda or on your balcony or wherever it's cozy in the shade under a tree and listen to notes by playing Alle, meine, Entchen or whatever song is in your fingers. Just change the bass notes and you will discover great things. So let's check out Paul Rose. Okay, and who else is in the chat? Giffy Moroda, the drummer in the band I was long time ago with Marihuana, and I was wondering why he couldn't keep the rhythm. What's going on there? No time? I tell you, what is the thing with the time? Okay, hey, no, getting lost in groove. Do something that you like and get crazy with it. That's the at any level. You can do this at easy peasy level, or you practice whatever your fast triples, whatever you feel. Okay, Steve Cutler. I have been playing guitar for decades, but always with a pick and no trying to learn the hybrid pitch. Any tips? Okay, there's my pick. First tip is how to get rid of the pick. I hold it in between, well, is this the index finger? I guess so. And I move it back. And wait a minute, I put it in front of the white guitar so you can see what I'm doing. So when I was at school, at class, I spent the whole morning doing this under the table. Not losing my pick. Of course, once in a while there was a and the pick was gone. But I can talk and I can do the pick whatever. You know, it's like, here's your pick. I can play, I can hold it, I can play, I can hold it, I can do it like this, in the beat even. Haha. You can even practice in the groove, holding the pick. Yeah, going to disco, you know. Pew, pew. Funky town, you know, and then hold the pick, play the pick. So that's the first thing. And then hybrid means you use the pick for a part of the, you know, the strings, and use the rest of the fingers. In my case, I hold the pick like that, and I use the other fingers to play that. And the first thing is like, I do it on separate strings because it's kind of, well, make it easy for you. You have, when the pick is here, the fingers are not comfortable on the same string. So I leave the fingers where they are actually, and then just plug the fingers with the notes that are there. Now I move to full finger style because my pick is now hidden, and then I go back. Some kind of licks come easier when I use the flat pick, and some are better hybrid. And then I use just fingers. Of course, then I have to avoid the index finger because that's my pick holder now. This is also possible, but it sounds a bit weird. And then just imagine you would swallow one of those mega big picks when you get too excited. They last long. I think I've never done it. Maybe you have to see a hospital, or maybe one day at the toilet you have a nice noise like this. Mixolydian that was. Okay, I'm at duck level, yeah. You know, I'm at suck level. And it's totally okay if you feel like you're not the best. Because if you compare yourself with the best guitar player, you will never be the best. And this will be a big problem for you the moment where you cannot keep up with that level anymore. You know, when I was teaching, I asked the guys, how many hours do you practice? And they go, I practice 4 hours, other 2 hours. I practice 0 hours. I have a job and I play. And if I do a live stream, I practice. So you can count my hours of practice. I'm happy to play the guitar, but I don't have the time anymore, unfortunately. But I still feel great picking up that guitar, and that positive energy is magic. That is what keeps me alive. That's what inspires me. And even if you're physically not fast, because whatever, you can still play great notes because your brain might be fast or inspired. So don't worry about that stuff. Take it easy, have fun, and play like kids. Okay, let's see if you guys have any questions. Apropos big pigs, swallow a pig. Pig doesn't mean plectrum in all languages. Okay, this is a plectrum, and I called that thing pig because that's what I call it. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Plectrum, pig is the synonym for what I hold in my fingers here to hit the strings. So for those guys who would use different words, médiateur en français. Okay, Steve Cutler again. I'm just thankful for a new way to approach hybrid picking. Yeah, and here just a see that stuff you could never even do without hybrid picking, and it's so easy once you discover by playing the guitar stuff. It's killer. For instance, we play a G minor chord. So, and what I'm doing here is I have that note B and D and use my kind of middle fingers here to pluck them. So, and hybrid would mean I play the pick on the D string, the G on the D string, which is 5th fret, in the way, sorry. Okay, so to make it sound expensive, I simply have a pull-off of these top 2 strings, which is the G string and the B string. If you try to pick all the with the pick, it doesn't work. First, it sounds way cooler, and second, it's like built in. This riff is built in that kind of technique. I mean, it sounds expensive, but it's cheating. It's cheap. I learned that from Joe Satriani. But it's fair enough. I mean, you know, if you look at a piece of art, Picasso, he makes a picture with just one line. One simple line tells the whole story. Other people make millions of lines and overpaint and paint it back. Another form of art. But my first album is called The Beauty of Simplicity. Is it still there? No. But it's simple is king. And then, yeah, go with the flow, use that energy, and that's all good. Okay, I like the tremolo bar, or is it a vibrato bar? I'll stick with whammy bar because I'm not subtle with it. Okay, and tremolo is a volume thing, not pitch. Words are fun. Okay, yeah. I heard the story that this was kind of coming from a Fender catalog in the 50s. Maybe I'm not right, or maybe I picked up a wrong story. But modulation of pitch is called vibrato. Like that. And tremolo is a modulation of volume. That would be a tremolo. that would be a tremolo, and that would be a vibrato. Okay, and if you mix a vibrato with a note that is not changed in pitch, I try to simulate that with an open string, you get a chorus effect. Try it with even more notes. Yeah, almost. Yeah, these are effects. Okay, here again, I sometimes unmount the vibrato bar and use it as a bottleneck replacement. Yeah, you can do that. I prefer mic stands in front of me because they're so handy. You can do it, or you can do it with your glasses. I mean, like, this one has corners. Let me see if I can have the round. I probably have a zip first before I spill it over my beautiful trousers. Beer bottles come handy, or whatever your drink is. Yeah, this sucks because it has a plastic label. I thought this would be a metal can. But yeah, anyway, that's the thing. We can use screwdrivers. No sustain, this one. Cheesy. Okay. Hey guys, any questions? Contact 60? No, this is 701. The Vaseline spray. Vaseline? I use this in combination with the Dioxide 5. The Dioxide 5 is for the corrosion. And this is kind of for long-term protection. It prevents future corrosion. So I use both sprays kind of in alternating patterns. The glass had the best tone. Yep. Hey guys, if you don't have questions, I'm happy. Because it's a sign that it's simple. Okay, so next time we all play modes, I want to hear you. Paul Rose, is that the vintage setting? Yeah. Oh wait, sorry, I'm on the classic right now, but to be honest, most of the time I would use the vintage. I landed on the classic. That's the classic, and that will be the vintage, which is. Me personally, I'm the vintage channel, sometimes boost guy, most of the time boost guy. Versus classic with no boost. Sounds also good. But I love my vintage channel. Don't ask me why. Maybe you don't hear even that, but it's they are both great. And even when I play the modern channel today, you know why this thing is sitting here? my volume port needs that badly. It's getting scratchy again because I use it all the time. Okie doke. Yeah, by the way, Alle meine Entchen is also in Kashmir. It's all the same stuff. The Blug fugue. Blug fugue. Oh. Helmut, what's going on? The other hand sound, interesting, I guess. Okay, the guitar is a freaking beast, not unlike the guy tearing it at one. Okay, have 16 guitars, and this one is the cheapest. Yeah, if you like the cheapest guitar, if you're in love with your guitar, that's all that counts. It doesn't matter what price it is. I guess the US National Anthem is stolen from Alle meine Entchen. Of course, let me show you. Everything is stolen from that song. Okay. Helmut with 16. I can't. Well, I don't get it. So, can you play Chromatic Fantasia? Oh no. Hey, I did my little Bach thing once when I did my concert with the symphony orchestra. So, you know, this was a double booking thing. We were all booked for this one big event, and at the main time here in my hometown, at the biggest place, and the orchestra had a 40th anniversary of something, and I was booked before, and then we had to find a solution. I was booked, they were booked, and then we simply decided we play together. And therefore I said, okay, let's do something. I play some classical stuff and you play some rock with us. And so it was actually a nice mixture. Of course, we did the classical thing with music was my first love, with big orchestra arrangement, you know, the stuff that you would expect. But I was actually daring to do some experiments, and the Bach thing was one. And the orchestra never heard me play that tune before. We had a few rehearsals, very few rehearsals, and I was on stage and then I did it, and the conductors thought, quite interesting what this guitar player is doing. Anyway, bar 945 A per. Yeah, big experience, but very nice. And we all know that Bach is one of the, you know, those guys are still hip in a way. If you listen to classical music, there's so much power, so tone, in modes. Everything was there centuries ago. Great, simply unbelievable stuff. Give you more. I suggest to ask Michael Angelo Batio or Ingrid Malmsteen for that to play. Sure, they can do that. You know, there are guys that have the patience to learn on that deep level. And I highly respect people doing that. I just found out that I'm not kind of guy. I just want to have fun I put my energy, you know, into my amps and my development of things and the guitar playing too, but that's not, I'm not 100% guitar only guy. I just enjoy the guitar and I'm happy that people come to see me doing that actually. And if they knew that I only play Alle, meine Entchen all night, you know, in different keys, in different variations, but that's actually all I do. And that's, but trust me, the others do the same. Maybe they don't know, but I know. And that's the good thing. Classic licks I like so much because of their variety. Variety. That's a hard word for Germans. Variety. But I teach you a German word that's hard for you guys. You know what a little box of matches is called? A little box of matches is called Streichholzschächtelchen. Streichholzschächtelchen. Say it again. Streichholzschächtelchen. So if you can say Streichholzschächtelchen, I tell you, okay, variety. Okie dokes, guys. If there are no questions, I'm happy. This was an easy one for me. If you don't know the masterclass I have done with Guitar Summit, that great organization that put up the event in Mannheim, this year again in September, I think. And I did my online masterclass for them as kind of the first thing how to get the Guitar Summit internationally. So that whole course is in English. I don't know how many hours, 50 hours. It took me a month to cut all the lessons. And it is a more or less complete package course. It's not like you learn one thing and that's my thing and the rest is for others. It's like I start with, you know, rhythm thing, eights, triplets, and then I do a lot of rhythm guitar things and, you know, start there, evolve to a next level, and then show you the same thing with the scales, and then bring those things together, and then even go into styles of, you know, you name it. There's Jeff Beck, there's Santana, there's ZZ Top, there's Jimi Hendrix, there's, you know, all the classic stuff from blues and rock with like their styles and their cliches. But this course is more or less a very complete work. And I did this with the Guitar Summit team or organization. First of all, because they asked me, but I thought, you know, guys, that's so important that guitar shows and the people working at those guitar shows have a future. And just having a local event in Mannheim is not the thing. And they, of course, came up with the idea during the pandemic because online events, you know, online exhibitions is kind of not so cool, but online guitar courses is cool. So I was the first to create that concept for them, and I watched many other courses from great players, but I came to the point that it needs a more complete thing, or at least I should do that. And then, of course, Guitar Summit is connected with all the great guitar players, so there will be a future for others. I just was laying the first, I'm the first one to do that for them with this concept. And of course, it's with notation. It is with tons of backing tracks for you guys to practice modes, and all that stuff is in there. I don't know how many, 50 backing tracks or 30. Tons of backing tracks, tons of video snippets, tons of styles, exercises. Yeah, Guitar Summit. Yeah. What are we seeing here? I need X amps. Ah, yeah, we need the AmpX. Yep, I had some phone calls about that too. Good news is on Monday I had a very long meeting with my software programmer for the interface, the user steps to do, explaining some of my analog thinking, like if I press that button and turn there, then so you can have an intuitive way how to operate the AmpX, and that's on its way. So we are still working on the whole thing. Yep, we all want the X, but the same thing like Alle, meine, Entchen, the AMP1 does a lot for you, maybe everything. You think you need everything, which is in the amps, in the AmpX, but probably you don't. I guess Paul Rose, if you're still in the chat, if you play the AMP1, how many effects do you play with the AMP1? I think maybe a delay, or maybe not even a delay, because this guy is a killer player, period. Somebody is asking a great question. Can you tell us about your different experiences in the studio as a session musician? Yeah, of course. This would be... Actually, it's a good point. Let me do a full episode on that. I have like 1 meter of CDs that I played on from very different styles. Copyright problems here. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not sure if I can play them for you. I wish I could. Then that would be the thing to do, and then explain what happened. But the experience in the studio as a session musician, I have funny stories. I can let's save that one for a special episode. I will prepare a good one with. I have killer stories, and I have. I can teach you some stuff that is also important in the studio, what works and what doesn't, what to do, what not to do. Okay, so last question here. How do you think about having AmpX and AMP1 together? Sure, that's your future stereo setup then. Works. 1 meter of CD equals for 40 to 50. Yeah, I think so. I started recording in the studio for other people at age 17, and I unfortunately don't have that anymore because it was so weird shit that one of my colleagues and myself, we played frisbee with those vinyl. This was vinyl back then. And we both were on this thing and we played frisbee with our records. I wish I would have one of those still because it's history. But they, of course, got lost. When you're 17, you think this is the shittiest crap ever. And you start to play with frisbee with your vinyl session recordings. My first one, at least, that disappeared. But I have a lot of other things that I've done, and movie scores and stuff like that. We make 2 episodes out of that. Yeah, but it equals about 40 to 50. Yeah, I think like that. Guys, thanks for joining for this hard theory masterclass, getting things sorted out with the notes. And we have David Cox interview coming up now, Daniel Cox interview, the short version now, and the long version will be uploaded tomorrow. Next week, I'll be in Hamburg with killer musicians. I don't know who's going to be on the live stream. Let me see. But at least I'll have the pleasure to shoot videos of the guitar collection of Carola, formerly Thomas Kretschmer, who passed away, a killer guitar player here in Germany in Udo Lindenberg's band, which is like the first one singing proper, really good lyrics in German in rock music. So, and that guitar collection includes, I think, 59 Les Pauls and great instruments. So I'll shoot those videos next week. And then there's this event at Number One over the weekend, I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's called the Crossroads Festival. And I'm kind of the MD of the band that doesn't exist. The band is musicians I've never played with. I just had a few phone calls here and there, but we have a good singer, and they're all pros. It will be fun. It will be great. So that's by the end of the week. So you will see stuff from that in 2 weeks. And next Wednesday, we'll be at Number One with all these great guitars. Another 59 Les Paul. Only 150, 400,000, who knows. At least 6-digit number guitars. I don't drop them. Okay, doc. Enjoy Daniel Cox's interview. See you guys next week. Cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Daniel Cox from the poor Australia. Yeah, it's a big pleasure to have you on the Academy of Tone. And somehow it was a nice way how we got in contact, because we have a mutual friend, Rick Hollis. The rest of the story you should tell, because I don't know.
Yeah, no, he's a great guitar player too. He's one of my friends here on the Gold Coast. Before I went to Europe, I contacted him because I know that doing his YouTube channel, he has some good contacts with companies and stuff in the past. And he told me about the BluGuitar, and I was like, oh. And he said one of his mates, he's hooked up a couple of his mates and they're playing them now. He said it'd be really great. So he got in contact with you for me and, to see if we can get a hold of one prior to coming over. But we couldn't get one in time. But you were awesome enough to help me out. And for me, the thing was, some kind of last minute thing, because you already were flying into Europe, or you've been there, and it's like we shipped one to the first venue, and this was must have been a blind date for you, getting one of these and one Iridium's. I mean, going in blind, but it was quite easy to set up as soon as I plugged it in. I pulled a tone pretty quickly, and I was blown away. So.
Daniel is the right candidate. It's totally blind date, and I thought, let's see if that works out. And the result is you played the whole tour with it, and you're on board now, which is great.
Sure. It was cool too, because it's so you can get so many tones out of it. Like just the EQs are so like not temperamental. They're like very sensitive. So you change them a little bit, and you can get a completely different sound. So I was like, once I tweaked it where I wanted it, different venues, it was pretty easy just to dial in for different venues as well. So it was great.